G'day fellow creatures of the internet, this is the most must-see and subscribed Argonian on YouTube, Bruzo Dragonius. In this video, I will show you, as a matter of fact, it's a video game review, as well. Sorry to break the third wall of the DLC chapter to Elder Scrolls Online, which is Elsweyr, which is a very kingdom that I'm in. But to be technical with ya, thanks to this DLC extension, I'm in Northern Elsweyr, also known as Argonian, and I will show you, through the magic of editing, my time in this beloved land of the Khajiit people.
So first let's recap on what leads to this deployment order that which Adnathan gave me to venture out onto the land of the cats that is Elsweyr, which of course originally a defensive combat mission to assist these cats, which are the Khajiit, to defend their land against the dragons that are unleashed onto them, while Abner, our feline stalker at the time, that is Chimera, and myself was at the Halls of Colossus. Well, basically, we sort of unintentionally assisted this guy who was working for the dry-skinned usurper in freeing the dragons out of this prison of theirs, which are the Halls of Colossus. But I'm not going to tell you the full story, as it would make this video longer than it should have, and not to mention, there are gameplay videos explaining that full story in this YouTube channel you are watching this video on. But if you are new to this channel, I will only explain it to you briefly. As I retrieve both halves of the tablet that is a Rastone, assisted by some other people to aid me for this human female to possess it and sell it to Adnathan that believes it has a map to locate what we originally thought it was some demon weapon that meant to stop this pointless three-alliance war of Cyrodiil that turned out to be a huge group of dragons that were hell-bent to cause harm and destruction throughout Tamriel, the rest of Nirn, and Mundus. Thus, instead of succeeding for our cause, we made everything worse for it, as we felt used not only by the usurper, but the dragons themselves, and thus is leading to this quest that took place in the titular but most stunning and exotic region of Tamriel that is Northern Elsweyr. But in the period between the update and the completion of the prologue quest to the release of the Elsweyr chapter extension to console, there are repeatable side quests which I can do, in fact did, which only involves training new Khajiit military recruits to help defend their homeland against dragons themselves, as well as going into the delves and retrieve ancient scrolls that could inspire best as possible strategies to stop the destruction of dragons in all means necessary, especially defeat them. The very release date of the DLC, I received a message from Adnathan saying that I needed to meet him at Riverhold, which is in the northwestern area of Northern Elsweyr. I decided to take the long journey on foot from Roden Route in Gruntwood southwest of where I needed to go. I ended up taking a long route through the eastern side of what I learned as Argonian, which was another name of Northern Elsweyr, which was really such awesome in terms of life and such diverse vegetation and more west stops compared to the other side that is more direct to Riverhold, which I could have done, which is the most direct route despite the lack of civilization and town I can rest, and the route I took to first get to Riverhold, that was via women. Even though the quickest route involves going through this arid and dry desert environment on the western side of the gorge that separates the kingdom geographically, nicknamed the Scar. In my journey, I, of course, encountered and had a fight with those dragons, and the way they fight you, they don't only shout to breathe fire, but the most notable shout that they use which was my signature warrior move as Dragonborn, is the fursuit. Sure, there are some side quests to almost every place in Equina has a quest given on the main paths. And aside from my main purpose on protecting the locals from dragons, there are really interesting stories I can tell from them and the diversity of enemies that I fight. Like the fact that there is a Khajiit temple where there is some magical madness going on that turned out to be caused by this magical skooma cat that of course caused those affected to seem like chasing butterflies and committed suicide thinking they can fly. And spoiler alert! Skooma cat is nothing but Shergoth as a furry. I again crossed paths with my feline partner in crime fighting and Biko Wazandar with his family at Merivale Farms. I explored various new delves and public dungeons like Oldcrest and the Women Necropolis, not to mention there is another group trial quest in the Sunspire Temple. Once I arrived at Riverhold to meet the team of Abnathan, Chimera, and Lord Gorashri, I learned there is more threats we must stop besides the dragons alone. There is a political corruption in Rimmon and Riverhold and various other places. If not, the entire kingdom of Enequina under the tyranny and dictatorship of this imperial usurper queen that is Uraxiathan, and the occupation of her mercenaries she calls as Uraxians. And some of those minions and henchmen of her were also, and are also, necromancers. Which, by the way, is a new class you can play as, and as such, you can bring corpses back to life and summon spirits to fight with and alongside you. It's, in my personal opinion, still suck allegedly that you can't play as a Dragonborn, which I am. And for the record, Uraxiath is related to Abner as a half-sister of his, and by the his, she was arrogant, power-hungry, and crazy bitch. In fact, too arrogant to actually wake up, nor care about the fact she was used by the dragons to do their bidding. I feel sorry for the local cat population of northern Elsweyr as they had to endure this sort of chaos which the tyranny of Euraxia and the apocalyptic destruction from the dragons. Not to mention that I adore the way the Khajiit has spoke and look. I learned that Khajiit don't have to be a humanoid cat people that walks on two legs, but there are different breeds and some are in different sizes and some walk on all fours. I learned that it depends on the mood formations you were born under if you're a Khajiit. In fact, in accordance to the laws of Elder Scrolls, if you are a cat of any sort, and I'm talking about you, if you are furry and decide to be a cat as a main persona of on any sort as a furry, you are automatically Khajiit. If you have a pet cat, then you have a Khajiit in your home. While I was there, I learned a plethora of the culture of the Khajiit people and stories around them, like the legend of the hero that is Kunzal-Ree, and saw such interesting artifacts like the dragon horn and the singing mural, which I could rate as a safe category SCP, which I myself had to collect all the pieces to, that is the Rithana de Renata, also known as the Song of Kingdoms. I learned about a dark origin story about my show-swiven friend that is Cadwell and had to deal with his dark side because of an orc necromancer that his Zulmog form resurrected that side of him, as in Cadwell was the betrayer. Now, I've entered the reign of terror of the bitch that is Euraxia, even though I had to kill her, as there are no convincing her to see the logic of what the dragons are doing to her and her henchmen. Which I had to stop, even though I had to kill them as well. And I did what I promised, and that is killing the dragons that are Molimi and I think Calgon did as well. right now, I have finished the DLC extension of Elsweyr, and for that, my Khajiiti stalker in the prologue of it became a new friend of mine, and from there turned out to be the actual princess of Enequina, and has been coronated as the allegedly rightful queen to this very kingdom. And this Argonian decided to take temporary residence in the Hall of the Lunar Champions, which is ironically appropriate for me, as Chimera jokingly compared me as the scaly version of Kunzari, which I don't mind, even though that I'm far from being him, for one different species. But it's just to provide aid to the locals for a bit until I am needed somewhere else in Tamriel and the Horde of Colossus, which I opened a portal to my temporary home as my personal dojo for now.
So there you have it. This Argonian has shown you what I can of all of Elsweyr. By the way, didn't I sound like one of those cat folk? Those cat people? With me saying this Argonian? Oh well. So, like I said, he is what I can show you of Elsweyr. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this review. You're all amazing. For those that is just watching on your YouTube, I probably would still hang around here in Elsweyr doing some other things for the cats, but hell. Anyway, thank you so much. You're all amazing, sitting through with me what I've got something to say. And like I said, spoiler alert, I saved Northern Elsweyr from the dragons that once terrorized them. I have ended the reign of terror of Queen Alexia Tharn. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. My other social media sites is on the description below if you wanted to check them out, and make sure you follow me in these ones. My usual online store is also in the description below, or if you want to donate to me via Ko-fi, then you're free to do so, as long as you click the link. If you want to follow me on PSN, or play me on PSN, or wanting to find this Argonian, which is Bruzo, just look for my gamer tag, that is Bruzo21 on PSN. So as always, I thank you all for watching this. I hope you do enjoy it, and as always, I am the most must-see Argonian on YouTube, Bruzo Dragonius, ending it off by saying, may this guide you all. Bye for now.